want to welcome you back to the Legacy Levels podcast. I have three of the biggest in the game to me and should be to y'all. So in this segment, we're talking about the trenches, where it goes down at, the jungle. We ain't talking about glam and glitz, no touchdown scoring, no celebration. This is where everything happens. And this is where a lot of the players who are in the league, this is where they get a lot of their development at. Hell, I played O&D line when I first started. But before we get into it, I'm going to introduce my guests, starting from right to left. First, we have my guy, Torrian Wilson. He went to the best, Miami Northwestern High School. He's an alum of UCF. He's also an ex-NFL vet. And then were you Under Armour All-American too?
Yep.
Don't want to leave that out. And he's the owner of Crafting Lineman. Next, we got my man, Javon Gopie. He's another Miami native. He's also a Lane College alum, NFL consultant, and he's the owner of Sack Sensei. And to my left, I got my boy, Travis Harmon. Y'all know who he is. He's a Miami native. He's a 6-time state champion from Chaminade Madonna on the coaching staff there. He's a The Howard University alum. He's the owner of Mental Peace Performance, and you guys can find him on the Mental Health Playbook on Spotify. And I'm just your boy, Coach Jerry Seymour, the Running Back Academy, all right? So fellas, before we get started, I want to talk about it. You know, usually when we get into these things, right, you know, we feel like there's something missing in the industry that we decide to go in. Obviously, I felt like there was something missing with the running back position. What you guys, obviously y'all in the trench, y'all know we've seen a big difference in the last 5 to 10 years with the development of both of those positions, the offensive D-line. So I'm gonna start from right to left. So Torrian, tell me about, you know, what made you, what clicked in your head to say, you know what, I'm starting to craft the lineman because these kids need help, and what was your aim at it?
Man, you know, it's crazy because I tell people all the time, like, I didn't think I would be doing this. You know, this wasn't something I would say, okay, I definitely want to be a trainer. You know, after I got done playing, man, I was trying to figure things out. And so I was in that space where, you know, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. And luckily, man, Alan Mogridge, I always give him credit. Appalachian State offensive line coach, he was my coach at UCF. He reached out to me once he got the job at FIU. So he reached out to me and, you know, just asked me, you know, what am I doing these days? And pretty much, man, I told him, man, I'm trying to figure it out. And he was like, man, come be my assistant, right? So so I did that for a couple years, and then, you know, transitioned into the training world. You know, I had some guys, you know, I was at a park one day, had some guys, you know, that I was training, and some other kids came up and was like, man, coach, you know, do you train? Is this what you do? I was like, I mean, you can come in, you can join us. You know, I didn't know anything about, you know, pricing and all that stuff. I was just doing it just to help, you know, some kids out. And from there, it just took off. They started recording it and started taking off on social media.
Yes, sir. Yep. Javon, man, what about you?
Yeah, mine's a little similar to how Torrian started. I never had any idea this is something I do long term, but when I sit back and reflect on it, it is the person I've been my entire life. You see what I'm saying? Like when I think about even as a player in high school and college, I was always a guy taking the team or the position to go do extra work, whether it was extra stuff in the weight room or position stuff. So I was always a natural teacher. It was something that was a passion of mine. So I had no idea it was something I wanted to do. I got into coaching maybe 2015. I first got into I was on the strength and conditioning side. Like that's what I wanted to do first. I wanted to have my own room, be a strength and conditioning coach, college, NFL. And that's how it started in 2015. I was doing positional work at the same time simultaneously, but we were doing a little bit of everything from speed and agility, strength and conditioning, recovery. But in 2019, I started to kind of just rebrand myself, and I just wanted to be more skill specific. So from there, man, I just kind of, again, started rebrand myself, understanding marketing, and you know, Sack Sensei came ever since then.
Yes, sir. I was about to say, if it wasn't for D-Line, I would have definitely said you was a strength conditioning coach, man. Like, definitely, definitely, bro. Yeah, definitely. So now it makes sense now, you know what I'm saying? Trav, man, talk about it. Me and you kind of got started at the same time, but you also, it's a certain thing that you spoke about when we talked about training old linemen. But go ahead and
man, what it was for me, bro, I got tired of going to games and hearing kids get yelled at and not being taught. You know, like people don't even know the game of football, but if something's not going right, then it's obviously the O-line's fault. The O-line ain't blocking, and I got tired of hearing that. I remember going to a game, I was at Trash, and like the O-line was struggling, you know, for a particular team, and everybody was just dumping on that unit. And I remember watching, you know, the coach like yelling at the kids or whatnot, and I could just see like the kid was just looking helpless, like he wasn't, and I could just tell like this kid probably wasn't taught. And so like I love offensive line play. I was fortunate to have good coaches in high school, which kind of carried me through college. And that's kind of how I knew, like, you know what, we don't have good coaches, around the corner. Like, everybody don't have access to that. And then after seeing kids, get spazzed on and needing help and just seeing like that there was a need for it, that's when I kind of wanted to do it. And what motivated me was I wanted to make the state of Florida known for offensive linemen, because we're known for skill guys, running backs, receivers, we got that all day long. But I felt like, we could have offensive linemen too. But it's just like we got to get out there and coach them up. So that's what got me in the game. And I hit up Coach Jerry, man, because he started training kids at, 7-year-olds, man. He was posting his videos, man. And I was like, you know what, bro? Let me come out there and join you, bro, because I want to do this for offensive linemen. And that's really how I got started with game day preparation, bro.
Well, he just reminded me about the 7-year-olds, bro. Like, they used to make us earn it, bro. Like, they
for
really used
sure.
to make us earn it, you
100%.
feel me? But I resonate with all three of y'all stories because that's typically how I got in the training game. I really didn't know that's what I wanted to do. And how it happened for me is Willie Davis, he was a running back at PPO. His dad brought him in because I was selling memberships at Bonaritos. You know what I'm saying? And when he walked in, he was like, Coach, I needed the money because I needed that commission from that sale. And the speed coach wasn't there that day. And then I said, you know what? Come with me inside the gym. I'll work you out on the turf. So I took him through some running back drills and was just talking to him, IQ and all that stuff. His dad was like, man, it's the best session that I've ever seen in my life as far as my son playing running back. And then it clicked in my head. I said, you know what? Ain't nobody really coaching running back like that. Not from an IQ standpoint, you know what I'm saying? And just overall training. I said, you know what? This is what I want to do, and this is what I am going to do. And then here we are, 5, 6, 7 years later, you know what I'm saying? And then it's happening. But this is what I want to transition to. We see that the training and the development of both positions, O-line and D-line, has changed drastically over the last 5 to 10 years, even from a swag standpoint, even from a pride standpoint. You know what I mean? So what's you guys, thoughts on the last 5, 10 years, and any one of y'all can answer this first, about what the development you've seen, not only on social media, but just in the players as well.
No. So I was pretty much going to say, man, like, you think about just every generation, leading up to where it is now, from when Travis played to when I played, 2 different generations, right? The development of offensive line is a little bit different, right? Then you go from my generation to, the next generation. And so it's going to always be evolving. So that's why I tell guys all the time, like, you can't get stuck in the old school way of doing things, right? Because it's constantly evolving. The position is constantly evolving. Now you have D linemen running 4.3s, right? And 4.4s. You can't keep doing the same thing you did in 1990, right? It's a different time, right? Different skill set. Same thing with offensive line play. Now you have offensive linemen running 4.8s and 4.6 and 4.7s, right? So the game and the position is constantly developing and growing, and it's constantly changing. So you have to be able to evolve with it, right? But I love it though, because it keeps you on your P's and Q's, and it also lets you know who really know the game and who can really develop and teach and evolve with the game. Because if you don't, you're gonna get left behind for the most part.
No, and that's real. And I think I like what you said in respect to the pride of the position, because I'm sure y'all can attest. It's always been there. We're just finally getting the recognition for it. You see what I'm saying? But it's like all of the great offensive line, defensive linemen, and we can all attest to playing from youth all the way through college, professional. All of the guys who were good, we always had a sense of pride in our work and what we did. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just happy to see, that we getting some flowers now. You see what I'm saying? But I love it, man. Like you said, the position and the craft has grown and elevated so much over the years, and I'm excited to just continue to see it grow. We are big athletes. We're the best athletes on the field. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen are some of the best athletes on the field at all times. So I am happy of the fact that we're just starting to get a little more recognition for it.
You know what? Before you answer, Trav, I just want to say I think me being out there training all these pros. Whenever I see those D linemen step on the field, and nothing against no other position, but I believe the D linemen are the most freakish athletes in the world. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they run a 4.6 and below. You know what I'm saying? To be 6'5", 6-pack, arms long all the way down to the floor, you know what I'm saying, legs as long as whatever, and they get out there and move the way they do, I think, like, bro, like, that is, you are the freakiest, probably best athlete in the world, you know what I'm saying? Probably not stat-wise, but from a physical specimen, It's just crazy. And for me, I'm like, damn, how O-line gonna block that?
We ain't never big running backs, bro. You know what I'm saying? All D-linemen, our life dream was to be a running back.
You know what? And I get a lot of D-linemen that come over there, they'll watch my drills, they be like, well, I remember actually carrying the ball.
100%,
I'm like, hey, yo, big ass, you can carry the ball, bro.
Hey, just real quick before you go, Trav, I gotta put a little stir the pot a little bit on that. Yeah. Because I think offensive line is the best athletes on the field. Awesome. Reason being, right? No offense to the D-line, right? But you're in a natural position, running in a natural position. Offensive line, everything we're doing is going backwards. We're in an unnatural position. Then the next thing I want to say too is that we're the only position on the field that never sees the ball until it passes us, right? So everything has to be trusting everyone around you. And for me, I think that's a lot harder than a guy that's in a natural position running straight ahead, right? And being able to see what's going on. And again, Trav can definitely attest to it. Like, taking a pass set against a guy who's running a 4-4 against a Max Crosby or Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons, and we're going backwards, and he can come power first. Man, you know the balance you have to have.
Well, you want to test that, bro?
I mean, I get it. I do get that. But look, this is what I'm gonna say. We can go from, and this is why I say athletes, why I say we're the best athletes, because we can go from our position and transfer over and possibly do that. They can't transfer over and possibly do this. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say athlete. You see what I'm saying? We can possibly transfer over and hold our own.
Well, with that being said, Trav, you want to elaborate on that? Or you go ahead.
Dexter Lawrence will be an all-pro offensive lineman.
The only thing that helps because I've taken D linemen and turned them into offensive linemen is the mindset. They're already confident and they already believe in their athleticism. I still got to teach them the technique, and that is the hard part because they're so used to freestyling and just however you get it done. You get to pick and choose what move you want to use, as long as you get to make a play. Offensive lineman, you can't pick and choose. Your assignment is your assignment. When they call this play call, they line up in this front, this is what you got to do. And that's the hard part when it comes to developing the D lineman once they transfer over. You're right, like a lot of us, and I'm going to tell you why we don't transfer back to D line. Once we understand our value as an offensive lineman, bro, and we know what we bring to the table, I don't even want to mess with that because you go all game looking for one sack.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Me, I'd rather just beat on you for 4 quarters and make you quit. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of got into coaching too. And one of my favorite things as a coach, when I was coaching at Chaminade, I love making front fours quit because they go all off season, going to these one-on-one, doing these one-on-ones. They got their shirt off. They out there like a greased pig, making plays, getting to the bag, and they want to do a cartwheel and then the backflip or how they. Listen, bro, line up and play against the O-line that know what they're doing. And I'm going to enjoy watching you quit. So it's just a mindset thing for me, bro. But I respect both sides of it, man. I respect y'all, what y'all do in the D-line, and I just love what we do in the offensive line, bro. It just, when they come to our side of the ball, bro, it's a lot more technique that gets involved. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what it is, bro. But I'm loving the energy right here on this table, bro. It's almost like we want to get it and go at it ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Me and Torrian line up with a quick double team. We'll watch this thing take down, bro.
Hip to hip on it, yep. Yeah, hip to hip. Hey, we're going to have to get down there. We're going to have to get down there.
Look, I'm going to tell y'all this. Like, to this day, I barely ever talk about, playing the position that when I played, but like shit, like things like that, like double team drills, like it was my prerogative. I had to embarrass the people in front of me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what made football fun for me. I like to embarrass people. You know what I'm saying? So double team drill, I'm gonna show y'all that both of y'all can't block me. You know what I'm saying? I'm splitting it and I'm separating shoulders and see what I'm saying? But it's funny you say that, bro. This shit get me hyped up all the time.
I see the veins popping up.
For sure. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go, bro. I'm ready to see some, you know what I'm saying? But like, okay, so, after we talked about, that, I want to talk about coaches in the youth football as far as coaching online because, I coach at a lot of organizations and we understand that the offensive line, defensive line, games are won in the trenches. But for some reason, coaches feel like it's won with quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs. But they don't understand that if you don't got nobody to throw the ball, right, and you don't got nobody rushing the person that is throwing the ball or giving it up, you got to understand how important that is.
I'm gonna hop right into it. What it is, bro, when you go to the optimist level and stuff like that, people just think is you got this guy, you got that guy, you got this guy, and it's not like that when it's in the trenches, bro. Like what I take pride in as a coach is, how you get those X's and O's to move. It's a how and how you do it. You just can't say, okay, you got that man, or you got that guy. It's different, but a lot of coaches at that level feel like that's all it is. You got 5 here, all y'all got to do is block these 4. Like, no, it's not like that. The moment a person shifts over, everything changes. You know what I'm saying? And there's a style and technique in how you do it. So, but what I would suggest to, optimist coaches, bro, like, connect with guys like us, because we want to help, but you got to be able to take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more than just you got that guy or fire out low and stay in front of your man. Like, nah, bro, it's a whole mindset. It's a whole skill set that you got to develop into what we do, bro. It's not just showing up and saying stay in front of that person or block that person.
Right. Because I know I've ran into some roadblocks myself. Because like I said, I'm in the training game, and I was in a high school game, but I actually left because, like I said, guys are just not on the same page. You know what I mean? And I would never, ever work for another coaching staff that has more than one coach at the position. You know what I mean? Because you'll get one guy that may know more than the other, but the other one, he don't really like that. So it causes friction in the running back room, let me say that. So that's why I honestly stopped. You know what I mean? It was just a complete turnoff for me. So I said, you know what? The running backs are going to have to come to me. It's my session. I'll be able to pour into them what I want. But at the same time, and I tell the athletes, if your coach have an issue with whatever I'm teaching you, have them give me a call. I probably had a couple of coaches call me, but then I had like 2 coaches that I really wanted to talk to because I really wanted to see if they was going to call me. And one of the players said, the coach said, he don't want to talk to you, man. And I said, you know what? Tell your coach that, he shouldn't be coaching you if he can't have another conversation, a man-to-man conversation with another man, with another coach, you know what I mean, about how we're going to develop you. So does he really care about you till he can't even get on the phone with me and see how we can get you to where you need to be?
100%. And honestly, to piggyback off of what Trav said, I think that is the name of the game at the optimist level. It's all about making everything simple, right? So the simple thing is you block him, you block him, you block him, however you get there. Don't worry about your footwork. Just come off the ball, run off the ball, go get them, right? Sometimes you see guys turning the hips in the hole and doing all these things that you wouldn't want them to do, right? So, but I think at the optimist level, I think it's a lot of times where coaches don't coach that position, right? So they may be out of position as far as coaching. And so now the easiest way to kind of get things going is just to make it simple, right? Make it plain and simple. You have him, you have him, you have him. So now they feel like they can play fast now, or they can, everybody can be on the same page pretty much. And I think, honestly, like Trav said, we, reach out to one of us. You know what I mean? Like we can talk scheme, we can talk what works, right? For your level, right? Because we obviously, right? We have things in our arsenal for optimists, for high school, for college, for pros, right? So it's not like what I teach a pro guy, I'm not going to teach that optimist guy because he's not there yet. But I'm going to teach him what he needs to know at his level, and then we're going to continue to develop as he gets higher, at the next level.
Right. And it's not necessarily like I'm better, because a lot of coaches, they just get ego. So they make it competitive when it don't even have to be competitive. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, the reason why I'm at where I'm at today is because of the 6 and 7-year-olds that I work with. Because if you could develop that, you know what I'm saying, 6, 7, 8, that age group right there, you know what I mean? If you could develop that and make that into something, whether they still play the position or not, but you put that foundation in them, that speaks volumes. You know what I mean? And a coach should actually say, you know what, man, like, let me reach out to these coaches. Let me learn what you can learn. Because one thing I noticed in the college game, in the football coaching game, those guys are always continuing to learn. Even the best of the best, they always continuing to learn. And I want optimist coaches or youth coaches or whoever you may be, like, reach out, continue to learn. Because honestly, if you in our city in South Florida, we're the closest resource that you do have.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Because college coaches call me all the time. A lot of times
they don't
can't reach
don't
us.
Answer. Yep.
Let's sit down and let's talk. Let's go from that. But like I said, but the egos. Have you ever been in a situation where a coach, ego got in the way of you coaching the kid?
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna start with that. Now I ain't gonna mention the name, right?
Yeah,
but a very funny situation happened years ago. This was like 2020, 2021 training, and I had a handful of kids who attended this particular high school who would come train with me, right? So For whatever reason, their coach didn't like the fact they were coming to train with me, and he would talk trash. And I would ask the kids, like, how does he have a perspective? He ain't never met me a day in his life. How can he tell you about me and he don't even know me? You see what I'm saying? So, whatever. Same thing. I was like, bro, if your coach have a problem with it, have him reach out. You see what I'm saying? Let's talk football, whatever. So, years go by later, and coincidentally, this same coach offered me a job. So I told myself, I'm gonna go hear him out. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna go hear him out. This it might have been like 2 years later. I'm gonna go hear him out. And but I told myself when I see him, I'm gonna check him about what he told me. You see what I'm saying? What you told them kids years ago. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, Coach, I don't know if you remember what you said when I seen him that day. I was like, Coach, I don't know if you remember what you said, but I was training X, Y, and Z. You told him not to come train with me. And he sat there, looked quiet, and then he smiled and he laughed. And he was like, bro, it was nothing personal. I said, I don't take it personal, but I told myself then I was gonna tell you about it. Yeah. But nah, man, it's a lot of ego, and that's we can all say the unfortunate part about just being in South Florida, because the talent is so high, the coaching is so low. You see what I'm saying? Like the level of coaching can be so low, and it's been like that for a very long time. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So like you just said, I encourage coaches just continue to learn. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Because at no point should we feel as if we know it all. You know, like you said, from college to professional, whether it's coaches or athletes, these guys are always continuing to try to learn. You see what I'm saying? So we gotta drop the ego, man. You see what I'm saying? Because we have the bodies. You see what I'm saying? We have, like you said, we can account for every other position. And there probably ain't another state in the country that has as many big guys who can run the way that they do here. You see what I'm saying? Nobody has those type of bodies that we do. You see what I'm saying? Athletically, O-line and D-line, but we just have to drop the ego so we can continue to develop these guys. You see what I'm saying?
And even if you you don't have to take our advice 100%, but just hear it out. Hear it out, go sleep on it, and then like think about what was explained. Like, does it make sense to you? Because I've had the person who mentored me, like he came out to a game day session once and he loved skip pulls, right? And he was just trying to get me to, yeah, man, shout out to Coach Smith, love Coach Smith to death. And he was trying to, skip pulls are cool, but for the guys, there were certain reasons why I didn't rock with it, because I feel like you have to be extremely disciplined to be straight up, and like you asking a Mack truck to go from 0 to 60. Because when you come in and you skip, you come into a complete stop and now you gotta go again. I don't want to put my kids in that position, so I wasn't rocking with it. I kept it the old traditional way, 3-point stands, come down. Like I had my reasonings why, but I did hear them out. And I did try skip pulling with my guys. And for some it works, but for some it don't. But it requires it requires pro-like discipline. So you can't just do it just because it sounds cool. You know, like to ask a high school kid in the fourth quarter to like skip pull, now he just standing straight up in the hole, and now he got to go 0 to 6. No, I can't put you in that position. But at least hear it out, you know what I'm saying? Sleep on it, and then if it doesn't apply, don't. But keep it in your arsenal for the person who is disciplined enough to understand or to run it that way.
That's real. Because that's the thing about training. It should be very progressive. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times people see things on social media and it look cool, you see what I'm saying? So we all want to hop on that train, you see what I'm saying? But I think really understanding why behind what we're doing, and then being able to understand, you know, based on the level that we have, you know, how do we develop these guys? Because, you know, and I think that's a big thing that's not talked about in our position, especially offensive line, is you can't coach everybody the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no one particular technique for every offensive lineman. Everybody has their own style, and it's really what works for you. And I think a lot of guys get caught up in knowing one thing, and that has to be the end all be all.
Right, you're right, because you act like with me, coaching running backs, I'll have about 8 kids. Not one of them have the same style of running. So yes, I do have the drill set up one way, but everybody's going to do it in their own way, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And that's what I think is like that's the benefit of having a trainer, because like I said, we can get out there and we can work with these kids for an hour and a half. Remember, during football, y'all only got about maybe 5-10 minutes of individual period. You know, well, we get a whole full hour, and now we could talk about schemes, scenarios, and whatever you may have it. You know, we could talk about a lot more things. But what I just want to encourage the coaches, man, just reach out to these coaches, man. Like if the kids are the most important thing, then you should do in your power whatever it is to help get that kid to that level. Now, I want to say, you know, this 5v5 thing, which I love, honestly, is one of my favorite things to see, because I feel like it gets the linemen out there. It get them off their butts in the spring, you know what I'm saying, to get them out on the field. So I know that you guys really started it like on the East Coast, you know, and excuse me if I'm wrong. So what was like what, first and foremost, what ignited you guys to start that? And then now what you see it on the East Coast today, how does that make you guys feel?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, man, me and Sack, man, we we have some long conversations, man, on just developing, bringing O-line, D-line together. I think we started actually doing events. Like, I think our first event was during COVID. During COVID, everything was shut down, and nobody, had any way to kind of develop guys. And so we kind of came together and was like, listen, if we can make it safe for the kids, right, mask and do all these things, right, to make it as safe as possible, everybody have on masks. Everybody have on masks. But we had, 150 kids,
great
kids out there?
COVID was good for us.
COVID was
it was
really good.
We couldn't do nothing but stream.
Exactly. So that's where it started, man, and then started doing some other events, along the lines. And the 5-on-5 came about, man. Shout out to a couple people, man, because the West Coast have been on this wave for a while. The West Coast, because on the West Coast we talked about it early. Like California, you don't have spring ball. Yeah. So these kids are really doing this from the season ending until pretty much summertime, July, right? And that's when they get pads. So, when we saw that, man, shout out to one of my guys, Ray, out in Tampa. Him, myself, Sack, we kind of got together, man, and you also have Aaron and Chad up in Orlando. We kind of came together and was like, man, let's figure out how we can, develop this 5-on-5 stuff, man, because it's gonna be good. Because how I thought about it, or how we thought about it, was if the skill player is doing 7-on-7, whether you believe that it's actually working whatever it is, but they're actually doing something football related, right? They're building competition, right? They're doing something that's going to help them develop, doing something, not just sitting around. So now it's like, okay, with the 5-on-5, is it always going to be like a natural? Are we going to jump set every play? No, right? Is it everything going to translate to the field? Maybe not, but you're creating competition. They're working their skill set. Right, they're doing things that's going to allow them not to sit at the house all spring, and now the first time they're on the field is during spring ball, rusty, right? So now, and really, man, this was the first year that we actually really expanded, really traveled, and the beautiful thing about it too, man, is not only do we do the events, man, we take these kids on college tours. Like, literally, we had at Georgia State this year, man, we had 7 guys get offered.
Yeah. That was a dope moment for those kids.
That was I wish you could have saw the kids' face. Nobody knew it. Nobody expected none of that stuff, man. I gave them, we gave them a list of the kids that, that were coming up. They watched the film. I sent them some of the 5-on-5 film, and they was like, okay, yeah. And so, shout out to Coach Williams that's up there, man. He was like, listen. Ryan Williams, who's from the crib too, all right? He was like, hey, these kids, man, we want to offer them, right? And man, one of the kids, man, almost cried. D. Lyman
that was a dope moment. Man,
he called his mom, his first offer. So that's what it's all about. So it's not only necessarily just about the competition part, but it's about what we're doing outside of that part, with these colleges and these college tours and meeting them, getting in front of them, getting in front of these college coaches and talking with them and meeting with them. So, man, it's a dope experience with this 5-on-5. For sure.
Like I said, because you always see the athletes around the springtime. They the ones in the 7-on-7. They taking all the pictures. They going to all the different schools. Yeah. They the ones in Vegas. They the ones that's in Dallas or New Orleans, and they the ones who get to have this happy-go-lucky.
For sure.
7-on-7. And it's good to see. The 5-on-5, the big dogs getting to experience that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of times, they follow each other on Instagram. So you seeing your wide receiver, your DB, they up at this such and such school, they competing and they getting offers. Yeah. Now y'all just provided a way for the O lineman to get up off or D lineman too to get up off their butt, get out here and experience the same thing. I think that's really dope.
Could I add something to that too, real quick?
Yeah.
So how we talked about the swag and the confidence that we had, man, I wish you could see what a 5-on-5 event
looks like. 100%, bro.
Bro, it's 100%. Crazy.
Yes.
Like our team that that we developed, man, we had these new uniforms.
That's what
man, they swagged up, they talking, that's the confidence that they, that they need, man. Shout out to Battle, with the uniforms.
Yeah.
But man, the confidence and just the just the oomph that you get, the energy of a 5-on-5 event. Oh, it's nothing like it. And it's crazy because I had people come that have never seen it, that I broke it down to on the East Coast. I was like, listen, you got to get into it. I'm telling you, and they came to an event, it was like, I didn't know it was going to be this.
I love the energy just from watching on Instagram.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can tell you what it is, bro. It's like these kids never really had the opportunity to do that. They've always had to watch their peers do it. They watch their running back homie, their receiver homie, stunt and do backflips. But now they get a chance to go out there and find themselves and build their own confidence and express themselves. And I think that's really dope.
Yeah, I think because there's really you don't get congratulated, you know what I'm saying, for protecting, We congratulate each other internally and within the team, but y'all don't get that notoriety. Just like one NFL guy, he brought up something where y'all don't even have an O-lineman award, something like that, you know what I mean? And I thought that was crazy. But you also remember, you probably don't remember, or you do because you're the one who created it or you came up with the camp. But we did like a 9v9 one time at St. Thomas, where you had the wide receivers and you had O-linemen and D-linemen mixed in with the 7-on. And I thought, bro, I said, you know what? If anything's gonna be 7-on-7, that's what it needs to be. Where they have O-linemen and D-linemen that's incorporated within the play, and somebody's able to rush the quarterback. That way, the quarterback can get a real rep instead of just sitting back there, sipping coffee and smoking a cigar, and then he got this open lane to throw the ball. I think if we're gonna go that route, that's what it needs to be. That time that the camp we did, I thought it was the best thing out.
And all it is we all done it in college. All it is half-line skelly.
Yep. Yeah.
We all did it in college, right?
Yeah.
We had 3 O-linemen up, and then you have the skill players, right? It's just half-line skelly.
You know what, dog? Not everybody went to college, bro. You got a lot of moonlighters out here.
True story.
You got a lot of.
We about to dive into that, boy.
What's half-line skelly?
That's real. But before we go there, just to kind of piggyback what we said about 5v5, that essentially was our goal, man. We wanted to create culture around the position. You see what I'm saying? We wanted the people to know what the culture was. We wanted to make it cool. You see what I'm saying? To be offensive lineman, defensive lineman, because again, it's one of the toughest positions. We're the only position where you touching somebody every single play. You getting hit every single play. You see what I'm saying? But that was our goal, and I'm super excited to just continue for us to scale this event. You see what I'm saying? We had a great opportunity to hit 5 different cities this year, and we just want to continue to scale that year to year. But I think even bigger than what happens on the field, just creating the competition is a big part, because some of these kids don't get the opportunity to see talent from other states. You see what I'm saying? So I think that was so big. We had so many kids, because again, we getting people from all around the country, California, New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and to get kids an opportunity to see other competition, because I think a lot of times, especially down here in South Florida, the kids get caught up in, just competing against the talent that they think is in the area. But you don't know, you competing against the whole country, you see what I'm saying? And now you competing against the portal, you see what I'm saying? So it's even deeper, you see what I'm saying? So really getting them the opportunity to compete on a different level, and then, like you said, man, giving these kids opportunities to change lives, you see what I'm saying? Some of these kids, up until our 5-on-5 event, never left the state, never left the city of Miami. You see what I'm saying? So
I was the same way. I'm saying,
We've seen snow. You remember
100%,
we was in
yes.
North Carolina,
Yeah.
and it was snowing. We took the kids to North Carolina, University of North Carolina, took them to NC State, and it was snowing. Man, I'll show you videos after, man. They was on the ground making snow angels. They've never seen it. Yeah, they've never seen it. So, just seeing that is one of the beautiful things. And I don't want to keep, staying on the subject. I know we got to move on, but with the 5-on-5, just like Sack said, seeing all these different players and competition, man, when we had our event here in March, I wish you could have seen the type of players that was here that was from out of state, from California, from Hawaii. These players came in, and the parents was just bro, who are these? These are grown men. You know what I mean?
So my baby going against him?
But it shows.
Let's talk about the Samoans, bro. That's just a different. I remember. I'll tell you this right now. I hope y'all be telling this story when y'all played against the team in Vegas. What's the
Bishop Gorman.
Bishop Gorman.
Bishop Gorman. Yeah.
My boy Trav hit me on after the game. He was like, bro, I ain't never seen linemen get up to the second level like this. He was like, bro, I was just on the sideline. He was like, I was just amazed to see how they doubling down, climbing. He said, bro, and once they let their hands on them, it wasn't letting go. Because I play with Samoans too, and it's just they are just birthed in the trenches. It's like that warrior mindset. So we want to shout out to all Samoans and whatever else that you are. So talk about that a little bit. Their mindset and their.
Honestly, bro, it's just like they're in an area where, you know, they take pride in a position. And I think that's what we got to start doing down here in South Florida, bro. Like if you're a big guy, take pride in being an offensive lineman, and we got to take pride in building them up to be that instead of tearing them down all the time. Because what I feel like a lot of our offensive linemen are hide on the basketball court. You know what I mean? You go out there, they're athletic, they go in there and get some rebounds, they can collect stats, whether you're getting a double-double or just 6 points, it's something you can read, whereas opposed to where you're playing offensive line here at the Optimist level, you're not really getting credit, but you will get blamed if something go wrong. I'm gonna just go to the basketball court, bro, where I can at least get some stats, get some PT, you know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of our linemen, you know, are hiding on the basketball court out there, bro, but in other places, man, like if you're born in Texas, you know they value linemen. If you're born in Iowa, you know they value linemen, and they got the Big Ten Conference at Iowa University where they value linemen, Wisconsin where they value linemen. So when they're at birth, they already know this is what I'm built to do. Whereas, you know, down here, you know, we find a kid at the grocery store. Boy, you ain't playing, boy. I need to, but come on out, boy. You know what I'm saying? Come on out. They go, you slide the number to moms. Hey, mom, you need anything? You know, practice on this. But then when they come out, we're not really teaching, or the kid doesn't live up to what we imagine them to be because they haven't been taught. Now you ready to tear them back down. You big soft so-and-so, all you want to do. And that's not how, exactly. And that's not, and that's not how you do it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I hate, and this I promise you, it boils my blood. And I'm just talking about from a youth level. It happens in high school too, but everybody think because you're not a receiver or a DB, if you're not an athlete, make them a lineman. Think about that. Think how they do us, bro. Oh, if you can't run the ball, if you can't catch, oh, go be over there with the lineman. That's crazy. How disrespectful that is. You see what I'm saying? So,
yeah, bro.
Yeah,
if you got confidence, go play D-line. If you got low self-esteem, O-line.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Because everyone, it's so many players that I see. No offense, so many players that I see that play D-line, and I look at them, I'm like, look at your ankles, bro. You're supposed to be over here. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? You don't have that quick twitch. You know, that quick twitch to get off the ball. You don't have that, right? Come over here, make you some money, right? Go get you a scholarship, like all these different things. Like, and the thing is, these players have to want to do it too, right? Like, if they feel like they're being forced to do it, a lot of them, just like you said, they'll be like, all right, I'm gonna go play basketball, right? Like, if I'm not playing D-line, I'll go play, you know, basketball, right? They think it's just like the worst thing ever. That's why it's beautiful now seeing a lot of these NFL guys and college guys, you know, really having that swag at O-line and making it a cool thing.
Yeah.
But you know what it is too, bro? They'll come back to you if they're being taught. They run when they just get yelled at every day. If they're not getting it, they're getting spazzed on, take a lap. But if you're teaching them, hey, this is how you get in the proper stance. You feel the difference between if you put all the pressure on your hands versus getting in the stance and using, like the smallest of things will make a difference. Hey, bro, you got to fix your stance because you want your quads and your hamstrings to develop all of the weight and the pressure as opposed to everything being on your fingers. If you got all the weight, it's not. So it's like, you know what? Okay, I learned something this day. What am I going to learn the next day? And they keep coming. And on top of getting them in shape. Now, you know, they was about to die that first practice. They come back that next practice, okay, I didn't die. It's getting a little bit better. On top of learning, that's how you build them up. And that's how you shift the mindset. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, then they start to want to dominate when they can implement those things. And now you can go to a camp or you play in a game and you dominate the person in front of you. Now you got them locked in because now they want more of it. It's like giving a person power who's never had it before. And that's what's most important. It's like, you get them a taste of that, now they want more of it. Now they coming back to practice motivated. You ain't got to, you know, push as hard as a coach because now they want to. They see it for themselves. And that's the key, just teaching and just bringing them along day by day.
So let me say one thing real quick. Like, so I love that point. And to the defense of coaches, because we're all coaches at some point, right? Especially here in South Florida, like you said, the development has to start there on how we develop these O-line and D-linemen. But to their point, South Florida football is, in respect to even how they pay us, is all BS, right? Anybody who's good don't want to coach because you don't get paid pennies. You see what I'm saying? Like, I did the math, bro. When I coached, I did the math. It was like 20 cents a day. You see what I'm saying? Like, think about that. All of what you have to sacrifice, you see what I'm saying, to develop these kids. And, you know, we don't get compensated at all for it.
Get what you pay for.
100%, 1,000%. And that's South Florida football for you. You see what I'm saying? So.
And that's what make like the inner city schools that are good, are a national program. That's what makes it like, okay, I see why guys are better or getting better or developing, right? Like that gives you a more appreciation, right? Because you getting paid 20 cents a day. Like you talk to a guy from Georgia or a guy from Texas or any of that, they'll look at you crazy. Like I wouldn't even coach. Like why would you coach? If you're not getting paid, right? So that also shows the love of the game that we have as coaches, right? Because we want to be around the kid. We want to see a kid develop. So, I definitely agree on that as well.
That's actually what drove me for a long time too, is watching the growth. Because when you're dealing with offensive linemen, right, you got to identify what they do well first. You just can't come in and assume this kid's supposed to go in this position. What do they do well, right? So I'm gonna give y'all optimist coaches in general too. Like when you run drills, you don't run drills just for the sake of running drills. You're trying to identify who does what well. So when we're doing pulling drills, it's not just for the sake of just them moving around and getting them running. You're trying to identify who's your best puller. When you're doing down block drills, who's your best down blocker? And for our scheme, where can I put them? And so you're not just doing it just to do it. We're not just doing it to run you into the ground and just, to be, jerks or whatever, to just make you run. You gotta identify what they do well. Now I've identified my best puller. Now I've identified my best down blocker. Who gives me the best double team? Who can I put together side by side? Who can I make into a center? Does my center need to be a dog? Who can I get to just snap the ball, whatever? It's just like figuring that part out. And then you walk into the kickoff classic with an idea and it still may not work. You still have to tweak a few things. And it's like, how can you, it's a good surprise and a bad surprise. Somebody's gonna surprise you in a way that disappoints you. And then somebody's gonna, catch you off guard and do better than expected. How can I make these adjustments and put them, put these people where they could be the best version of themselves to start working on the championship unit. Once you've identified the formula, now it's the mindset, getting them to gel. And by week 6, week 7, I'm looking to see like them move in a different way where they start moving like champions and start expecting to be dominant. They're hungry, they're coming to the sideline. Coach Trav, why are we throwing the ball? Why did we throw the ball 3 straight plays? We need to run it. That's when I know I got them because they want to take it into their own hands and dictate how things go for us to be successful.
Right. And kind of piggyback on what you said just a little bit, like, I completely understand about the identification part, like identifying what you have. Because I remember when I became the run game coordinator over at True Prep, I coached with my boy, Coach Keon Smith, rest in peace, Coach Keon. And I remember I used to send him all these Instagram videos like, Coach, man, we need to run this play. We need to run this play. We need to run this. I remember he called me one time. He's like, Coach, don't send me no more goddamn plays. He say, what lineman do we have that can move like this right tackle? I said, you right, bro. He like, even this play. He like, you think our center could snap the ball and pull and wrap around? I said, nah. He was like, bro, you got to send me plays that I can work with who we can identify with. So I just thought that was funny when you said identification, because when I was young in the game, being a run game coordinator, it was like I didn't understand that. I just thought like, hey, I see a cool play, let's run it. Yeah. But hey, bro, like just because it look cool don't mean that everybody can do it, And let's step up to the college realm. Do y'all feel like the transfer portal has hurt the O-line recruiting?
Man, I think it hurt everyone. Yeah. I think if you're a high school kid and, I'm literally going through it now. If you're a high school kid, you have to understand D2 is now becoming the new D1.
I just said that, bro.
You know what I mean?
Like, bro, please.
Because, if you're not that 4 or 5-star kid or a high 3-star kid or somebody just like see something in you, you may have to go D2. Yeah. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a great thing. Look at how many guys are getting drafted now from the D2s and the D3s that no one has ever heard of. And now you see them pop up in the 2nd round or the 3rd round. You're like, who is this?
The Denver Broncos got 2 of them.
100%. So now it's like the portal is hurting kids, but the kids have to understand and flip it into a positive. We talked about ego. Yeah, for sure. Kids nowadays have to put their ego aside. Yes, maybe in our day, yes, you was a D1 player. But now with the transfer portal, you may have to go D2, which isn't a bad thing. Go ball for a year or 2 and move up, right? Because at the end of the day, they just want to see you have some college film. Now, if you dominate at that D2 level or that D1 AA level, go move up, right? So it's definitely different. Because when we was growing up, it was recruit a high school kid, then it was recruit a JUCO kid, then you went into the transfer portal.
Development.
Yeah, development. Now everything flipped. Now it's transfer portal, JUCO, and then go get a high school kid. Yeah, so now it just flipped. So the portal is definitely hurting some kids. But I feel like the kids just have to kind of put that ego aside.
I want to say, I want y'all boys, I want y'all gentlemen to answer it too, but I just want to get this off my chest. Like, that, if you want to be great in football, right? Like, this is a, let's see what you got moment. If you feel like you a D1 guy and you end up going D2, or you have to take that route, let's see what you got. Go D2, ball out, dominate, and then level up. Because everybody want to be great, but you think you beyond that. Like, I'm telling you right now, if you're a high school athlete right now, if you're not 4 or 5-star, getting a scholarship is going to be hard as hell. I can't say it. No, there's no other way to explain it. But if you go D2, you go FCS, whatever, you go, you ball out, level up, go get your money, and then dominate. Let's hopefully you can dominate at the Power 5.
You hit it on the head though. If you are him, you should be him wherever you go. You see what I'm saying? Wherever you go.
Wherever you go. And that's why I say you got kids that can bet on their self-talent. You know what I mean? Like, because I seen plenty of kids that went JUCO and they knew, they like, Coach, I ain't gonna be here long. I already know I'm leveling up. But those are people who not only that's confident in themselves, but they love this game so much that they'll take that road, that a lot of kids won't take that road. Most kids, they'll get in their feelings, sit in their feelings. Next thing you know, a year or two don't went back, ego right, and now when they want to get back in the game, bro, you done set out for 2 years.
And I think the ego thing comes from parents too, because parents want to be able to brag about what school their kid going to or what person came. But at the end of the day, man, like the way football set up, especially in the trenches, like you're gonna be where you belong. If you think you're a 5-star, but you're not, like, but you know in your heart that you're not a 5-star, you're gonna get exposed, bro. You know, and the way these coaches operate with the transfer portal, they're gonna tell you to hit the portal. So it's just like at the end of the day, bro, you can't really cheat the game. You can't, cheat the process, bro. Like you really have to put in the work every day to become that guy. And like you said, dominate wherever you are. You dominate at the camps, dominate at D2, dominate at JUCO. If you're that guy, you're that guy. But some of these people are kind of just being passed along and being patted on the back for just being for having a size. But it's just like, nah, bro. At some point, you're going to get exposed, or things are going to, shift the way they're supposed to be, and you're going to be where you're supposed to be.
And I agree with that, because I appreciate the portal for what it is. Yes, it does make things a lot more challenging, but guys typically do end up where they're supposed to be. Like, you got those 4-stars or 5-stars who might have went to Georgia. We know they shouldn't have went to Georgia, but they went there, and then a year or two from there, now they at FAMU. You see what I'm saying? It happens, you see what I'm saying? But realistically, theoretically, they're going to end up where they should be anyway, because, now that coaches have the opportunity to tell guys they have to leave, it's drastically changed the game. So it is a lot more challenging, but I do appreciate it. And then it puts a better product on the field of college football. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a better product. So I appreciate it.
And just 2 things real quick. Nowadays, in college football, these guys, like these kids, have to have thick skin now. Man, I had a college group yesterday, and some of the things I'm learning about what's going on in college football, it's like, it's crazy. Like these coaches are like, if you're not a guy, hey man, we need you to leave. Yeah. Like they're asking you to leave, and a lot of times that can hurt your pride as a player. Like being asked to lead the team because you're not good enough. So a lot of times these kids have to have thick skin, especially if you feel like you're him. You have to understand that. And then the second thing is, man, I'm talking about how JUCO isn't a bad thing. I have a kid that's down here now training with me, and we had a long talk after training session, and he said the same thing, man. He was like, Coach, man, JUCO is not a bad thing at all. Like, I went from this school, now I'm at JUCO, and now I'm getting these Power 5 schools, coming after me, because I'm able to showcase what I can really do here at this JUCO. So, man, guys have to put their pride aside. And just like you said, Trav, man, I think these parents are, some of the biggest problems a lot of times when it comes to, just listen, it's not a bragging right, man. Just allow your kid to be a kid, allow him to develop, allow him to go where he need to go to be the best player he can be.
And it's sad because it's our society, that does that. Because like you just said, the bragging right, you should be bragging that he got an opportunity to go to college. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Your ass ain't go to college. You see what I'm saying? So you should just be happy going to school. You see what I'm saying? So, just got to put the ego down, man.
Yeah. Really what it is, too, like what makes us as offensive line coaches, we understand it's not a microwave society. The best way I would describe it is a home-cooked meal where you got to gather the ingredients, You know what I'm saying? You get everything together, and then even when you put it in the pot, start
Slow
boiling.
cooker.
It's a slow cook
That
meal,
slow
bro.
cooker, yeah.
And even with our process, when it comes to finding the right college or getting to what we do, it's a long journey, bro. Like like for me coaching at Chaminade, man, it was like the mindset of understanding this is a long journey to see the offensive linemen the way I envisioned them, and I might not get to see that until the state game. And so I'm going the whole season, play out like the end of the season starting to come, senior day, I'm starting to, okay, it smells good in here. You know what I mean? That meal cooking. But then like everything gets ready by the time we hit that last round till I get to finally see that perfect game where everything's come together. And then guess what? When that game over with, now that we champions, gotta start all over. You know what I mean? But in life in general, that's just a principle of understanding. You gotta understand, you gotta appreciate the process. Learn to love the process. You know what I'm saying? Like even our journey of figuring out our right school and where we're supposed to go, even if it's JUCO, that's okay. Don't be ashamed of that. It's a long journey for us. It's different. You know what I mean? It's not like a wide receiver where you could make one play that goes viral and not everybody's in your inbox trying to figure out who you are. When you're a lineman, when you're in these trenches, bro, embrace it. It's a journey. It's like that in being a father. It's like that in being a husband and finding that right part. It is all a journey. So embrace it. Don't run from it. And then just fall in love with the process. You'll be good to go.
You hit it on. Let me say this, because this got to be said. All right?
Yeah, I got you.
Athletes, especially high school athletes, especially in South Florida, stop lying about what school you go to. And the reason I say this is because you just hit on the head. It's so much pride in this game, and a lot of guys, if it's not power, even now, like if it ain't power 4, you don't even want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of kids, I'll sit in here and I just sit there with my popcorn, chuckle, and I'll hear somebody say, "Well, what school you go to?" That boy go to Virginia Tech. No, he'll go to goddamn University of Virginia, Merriweather, but he'll say Virginia, just because he don't want that guy to ask anything else. So he wants somebody to believe he go to school in Virginia, but he don't want to say the same school he go to. And you see what I'm saying? And it's like, it's sad because you should take pride in the school that you go to, no matter where it is, because just to go to college, like, because the reality of it is people would die for these opportunities. So just to go to college, it's still other people in other states and other places, that even other countries now, that will die for these opportunities to just go to college and play football. You see what I'm saying? So y'all got to stop lying, man. Take pride in what you do. You know, I'm keeping it G. I done heard too many of y'all lie to somebody, say what school you go to. You see what I'm saying? So, take pride in it, bro.
Hey,
100%.
That's why I tell these
That's
athletes,
crazy.
man, the real gonna prevail.
I've never, that's crazy.
I have.
That's crazy. He lying about the school. Yeah. I could just Google you.
100%. That's true.
It's crazy. Like a lot of athletes, or just people in general. It's not even just athletes. A lot of people, things just fly out of people's mouth and not understanding. Like eventually, the truth gonna eventually come out. Just like the one kid that back in the day, I think he said that he had got offered by Oregon or something like that. Back in Cali, like an offensive lineman. Come to find out he never got offered. You know what I mean? He had a whole people in the gym.
I remember, he had a whole signing day. Yeah, I remember that.
Bro, like lying, bro.
I remember that, yeah.
What's the saying? Oh, what a well we weave when we practice do deceive. Like some people, the lie just come off their tongue. They don't even think about it. Not understand that the facts don't.
He had a whole signing day, bro. He had a whole signing day.
Man, you know, that's going to make you feel worse.
I think he went through that whole process too, bro.
Yeah. No, he did. I remember that.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, but like I say, the real gonna prevail. You know what I mean? Like when you go to college, man, if you supposed to be at that P5, it's gonna show. You know what I'm saying? If you're supposed to be at that P4 or that mid-major, it's gonna show. If you're supposed to be at that damn D3, it's gonna show. Go there.
That's real. Can I just say one thing? One last thing, I'm done. Hey, it's almost like school. I got to raise my hand sometimes. But not like the transfer portal is also a good thing too. It's a great thing, because I think about it, man, of guys I played with who was like literally, you saw them being blackballed and they couldn't do nothing about it. Because back when we was playing, if you wanted to transfer, you had to sit out a year, you had to go somewhere lower. So really, the only place that you can really go by the time your coach got done with you was a HBCU or D2 or a D3. You couldn't play big-time football a lot of times, right? Because your coach can block you from certain schools. So now I like the fact of two things. I like the fact of if I'm being blackballed or just I'm doing everything I need to do, but coach is just not messing with me. All right, I need to go. Right? And then the next thing is, if you're balling and you're doing your part and you know you can play at that next level, you're able to get that opportunity to do that as well.
Right. That's why I try to tell these young athletes, use the portal to level up. Don't use it as an escape route. You know what I'm saying? And when I say an escape route, especially if you're the issue, if you can't get right, you the one who got the funky attitude, you the one who be coming to meetings late. You know what I'm saying? You the one that's not out there not going hard. You the one that's doing X, Y, and Z completely different than what the coach or the coaching staff wants from you. Then you don't need to hop in the portal. You need to get yourself right before you go to somebody else's school to be a cancer. So nah, man, use that as a level up. Don't use it as an escape route. Don't do it.
You got to be 100% sure that you're doing everything possible to be the best version of yourself. If you're being the best version of yourself on a consistent basis and things are still not working out, then it may be time to leave. But I kind of want to, just mention real quick too, like what you said earlier, you got to have thick skin even in the portal, because just because a coach follow you on X and you follow them back and they send you a message or say something to you, they still might ghost you the next day. Cause that's just how ugly the game is now. Back when we were in school, there was this thing called the graduation rate, and our parents would ask, hey, what's the graduation rate of this program? Like if I send my son to this school, what are the chances of him actually finishing? That question doesn't even get asked no more, because so now it's just like every day you got to be the best version of yourself. Every day you got to compete for your job, because they can hand you that pink slip. That one day you had a bad practice, or that one time you was late to a meeting, that could be the reason. And understand too, just because you're at that particular school, you might not have been the guy that they wanted. Like they had a lineman that they had in mind. They had 2 linemen they really wanted that chose other schools. They had to settle for you. So now they're looking for a reason. Yeah, they're gonna tell you, oh man, we glad to have you. You've been on our board. That's just jargon. That's what they're supposed to say. But they're gonna start doing things that mess with you, and you really gotta self-evaluate and know who you are and how things are going. They're not gonna validate you too. It's gonna be like being in a bad relationship, or a relationship where you're walking on eggshells. You're not really sure if your partner happy with you. Now you're scared to talk. You're scared to say, how was your day? Because and coaches do that. They're using these tactics to kids that are 18, 19 years old to force you out. You know what I'm saying? But still, you got to be able to look in the mirror and realize, like, am I being the best version of myself? Like, am I really doing this? Like, are they really can I be better? Like, is it them? Is it? You got to ask those questions, because in high school, everybody patting you on the tail and telling you how great you are. College is a different ball game. These guys are making 6 figures. They got families to feed. If things don't go right, they might get fired. If things go too well, they might leave. You know what I'm saying? It's a funny game, but you got to have thick skin. But the most important thing is to be able to self-reflect and realize who you are as a person.
Yeah, you made a great point though with the portal. You made a great point when we're talking about just leading with the graduation rate, right? So coming up, all parents want to know, man, is my baby gonna get a degree, right? Now, again, just talking with some of these college guys and just hearing a lot of things, now everybody leading with NIL. That's the first conversation. How much money we can offer you, right? So it's a different ball game, nowadays.
So to piggyback off what you said, Jay, I do agree, because you should definitely leverage the portal to help you to level up, but not to run away from problems. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna drop another bomb. You see what I'm saying? Like y'all zoom in when I say this. All right, like, hey, don't hop in that portal if you ain't ready now. Where's that? Where my camera at? Hey, you see what I'm saying? I know a lot of people that have been in that portal who's still in that portal. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So be careful, because like you said, man, reflecting on who you are as a player is so big when you think about getting to the portal. You see what I'm saying? And having good people around you is a big part of that too, because a lot of people are influenced by their circle, and somebody telling them, nah, bro, you an SEC guy. You should stay in the SEC. You see what I'm saying? So y'all just be careful, man. Before you get in that portal, just make sure that it's what's best for you, and because the grass is not always greener. You see what I'm saying? And then again, I literally had a kid that texted me the other day, and I'm happy because he got another opportunity, but he was forced to get in the portal. Yeah. Coaching staff changed, and new staff said, hey, we cutting you. And he texted me, he was like, Coach, I'm just lost, man. I'm speaking to another school, and they not really communicated with me. He was like, I just hate this because I didn't want to get in the portal. I was forced. You see what I'm saying? So for kids like that, it's unfortunate, but he did get another opportunity. You see what I'm saying? So I'm happy about that. But
and I like the fact that it's like that, man, because it makes these kids step their game up. Right. Like college ain't a 4-year guarantee or a 5-year guarantee no more. Boy, it's year to year.
That's real.
So you really got to get out here and be on your P's, your Q's, your A game, B game, C game, whatever.
We all played with guys in college, bro, who shouldn't have been there. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? We all played with those guys who shouldn't have been there.
Especially those, when my true freshman year when I was at Central Michigan, man, we went 3-8. That's the first time that I ever experienced a losing season. And some of the guys on the team at that time, bro, as we was just kept getting our butt kicked towards the end of the year, like dudes was just quitting and giving up, and it was like, man, like, why are you even here? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I've never experienced that. And when somebody asked me, they was like, man, so, what's your mindset going into this year? We know you went 3-8, but what was your mindset? I said, man, I was just playing because I'm just a winner. Like, I'd never been a loser. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, I was playing for the seniors because I never knew if that was going to be their last game or not. You know what I mean? So I always played for the guys above me. But I want to transition back to, and I know we're going to pivot right now. I think we see a lot of old linemen in the league, a lot of old linemen and D linemen in the league. But a lot of people don't know that, we was talking about it earlier, that there's some of these old linemen that started off as a quarterback, as a tight end, or maybe a running back, or this D lineman who was once a safety at one point. And I want these young athletes to understand that you're gonna have to make that transition. Like, don't get stuck in one position. So if I am a D lineman, and when I get to college, because a lot of times they recruit you and they already know what they're gonna do to you or do with you. You know what I mean? They like, yeah, we gonna put you at this 3, but next thing you know, in their head, they're like, nah, he gonna be our right guard or our left guard. But I just want you guys to kind of explain what's your thoughts on athletes just getting in that mindset, like, you know what, I ain't moving, bro. It's either this position or I'm going out like that. Like, no, you gotta be resilient.
Man, like for me, it's simple. Do you want to get paid or not get paid? Do you want to get on the field or not get on the field?
But you know what's crazy? Some kids have jeopardized that just because they so gung-ho about being locked into this one position.
And those are the kids that when 5 years, 10 years down the line, they're the ones that saying, man, I wish I would have. Or they're giving you that advice of, man, if I could go back, I would have done this, right? Because a lot of times we've all done that. We all been at some point where we was like, man, I wish I would have done this. If the scenario would have, been different, I would have done this. I would have made this decision. So, again, it's, if you want to go ahead and get paid, you want to get on the field, you have to do what's best for not only the team, but you never know. You making that switch may change your life for the good. So you have to be open-minded, especially in this game, man. This game, it's going to test you. It's going to test you, right? Up, down, high, lows, injuries, whatever it is, it's going to test you, and it's going to test your mindset. And everyone won't survive, right? The game isn't made for everyone. This is a tough game, and it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to play the game, right? But if you are looking for an easy way out, or if you're stuck in a certain mindset and you don't have an open mind, this may not be the game for you. Right? Because I think about it all the time, going back to kind of what Trav was saying. Listen, things are going to change. You have to mix people up. You have to play next to, I remember some games, man, I had to play next to people who I was just like, bro, I don't want to play next to you, bro. Like, this is going to be tough. This is going to be a tough game playing next to you. But if I was stuck in my ways or had an ego, I would have been like, man, listen, I'm sitting out this game. I'm not playing. I'm not jeopardizing what what I have going on or whatever the case may be. But you can't do that, right? Because in life, talking about husband, having a family, right? There's going to be certain things in life that's going to get thrown your way, and as a man, you have to handle that, right? So it's going to be the same thing when you're talking about football. If this is something you really want to do, you're going to have to be open-minded to play this game.
Sure. So let's be specific about what you said, all right? Because typically it's us who don't want to play that. Right. Typically it's us. You know what I'm saying? It ain't usually the other way around. But
you know what? You know what one is? Running backs who don't want to go be a linebacker. Because I'm going to give a story on that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I had my own experience with that in high school. We were, something happened one game and one of our linemen went down. And I had to play O-line. You see what I'm saying? They put me at guard. And I was number 99. They changed my number to 66. I was so sick. Yeah. When I tell you I was sick, I was sick off the number. That's how much pride I took into wearing that 99. You see what I'm saying? To flip me upside down. Like, bro, I was sick. But, I think what separates the guys is, like, if you love the game of football and you love to just put your hands on people, boss, no diddy. You see what I'm saying? Like, but if you love to put your hands on people and dominate people, it really ain't that different. You see what I'm saying? So me going into it, I was very upset. Midway in the game, I'm like, damn, this is fun. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? I'm out here, I'm one-on-one, I get to smack people around. You see what I'm saying? It was a different game, but it was fun. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But I love the game of football, so it didn't matter. For me, it didn't matter. I had to get some experience in it, yeah. But, I think that's a big part of it as well. Like, yeah, like guys don't love the game of football the way they did anymore. They don't, you know. And I think a big part of that is social media.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? What they're exposed to, they see, you know, what comes with it, but they don't love it the way we did.
Nah. The notoriety, you know, Trav, you want to elaborate?
Yeah, man. Just being an offensive lineman, you don't really get a whole lot of glory for it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where, like, you know, when you're a defensive end or a D tackle, you can get a tackle for a loss, or getting a sack is the best thing in the world. Bro, if you get a pancake block and that running back sprays for 80 yards, they still might not talk about your pancake block, bro. But it's just one of those things, like, that's where...
Or you can have a pancake and it's a tackle for loss because somebody else ain't do their job. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, bro, you got your first play on your highlight tape, but you caving down the whole right side, but the running back ran the wrong way or something, or they fumbled the snap, and, like, you know... Get him out. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's a thankless position, bro, and it's hard, but it's a lesson, because in life, bro, you won't get thanked. But here's the thing about football, bro. Football is always going to let you know where you stand. But when you transition out, there's nobody there to tell you, you know what I'm saying, if you're a good dad or not, if you're being a good husband. There's no evaluation. There is no, hey, bro, you're being a great dad right now. We appreciate you. If you could be the best father in the world, on Father's Day, you might get a card, you might get a tie. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is to be an offensive lineman, bro. It's so much, you realize it's so much bigger than you. And that's what, you know, I think being an offensive lineman really sets you up for life, bro, because there's just a lot of things you just won't get glory for. You just got to consistently do the work every day. Nobody's going to come tell you good job. It's just you and your coach, you know what I'm saying? It's just, in life, you might not have that coach. But that's just really what it is, man. And that's really why it's hard for guys to play that position, man. But if you do understand that, man, you'll be, you know, well set to understand the mindset you got to have to be not just successful in the game, but in life as well.
Yeah, man. And I'm gonna piggyback on what Gopie said, man. I remember when I was coaching at a school, I'm not gonna name any particulars, but we had a running back who was about 6'1", 2+, like 210, 215, specimen, physically, right? But they thought just because he's big, he's 215, and then in Oklahoma, let me say this, let me double back. Just because you run people over in Oklahoma drills doesn't deem you a running back. It doesn't deem you a running back. It just doesn't, because there's more things you got to do as a running back than just run through people. But I told me and the coaching staff, we talked, and I said, hey, I think we need to put this kid at linebacker because he doesn't have that it factor at running back. He's going to blend in, and the way that recruiting is going right now, he won't get recruited. He's just not a running back, point blank, period. So me and the coaching staff had to talk about it, and I remember the coaches were like, nah, coach, we need a big back. And I'm like, no, it's bigger than that. Do we want this kid to go to college or not? Just because we need a big back, that doesn't serve this kid no purpose. But, you know, the next day at practice, the kid he was giving me some attitude at practice, and come to find out, one of the coaches had got to him and told him what I had said about him. You know what I mean? So I pulled the kid to the side. I said, hey, man, look, I'm just be honest with you. At running back, you don't have that it factor. And let me tell you, running back is probably one of the hardest positions to get recruited at. Like, yes, you do have the measurables, but you don't have the attributes. You know what I mean? And your attributes alone is still not going to get you no scholarship. But I told him, you can go over to linebacker. You can get out there. You have the size. You have the side to side. You have the stop and go ability. You have the athleticism to actually be a really good linebacker. But the kid just lived and died by running back. And I was like, you know what, man? Let me finish. I was like, you know what, man? Don't down that hill. If you really got a coach that's in your corner that truly care about you playing this game, or just truly care about you as a person, like don't down that hill about what you think is gonna work for you. Because sometimes it takes older men or older coaches who've been there to say, look, they're gonna recruit you as a linebacker, but as soon as you get there, bro, they're gonna throw you on the defense so fast. So what I'm trying to tell you is I'm trying to give you some game. Look, don't down this hill. Look, you might want to transition your position, because what happens? It comes back to love. Because when I gave you that advice and you didn't take it, you just wanted to down that hill again, you don't really truly love the game. Now where's that kid at? Don't even know.
But I would have told that kid, bro, to play running back, you got to understand one thing. This for all guys who want to be a running back. As soon as you get that ball, you got 11 guys trying to kill you.
Yep.
You try to save that kid life. When you go to defense, bro, it's see ball, get ball. You go get the guy with the ball. And you know who helped me understand that? Our boy John Beeson, bro. Yep. Remember, he was a running back, you know what I'm saying? He played both sides. Yep. And his first, true freshman year at Miami, they kind of had him at fullback a little bit. And he just switched over to linebacker, and it was just like, bro, I want to be the guy that do the hitting. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole different mindset. As soon as you get the ball, not everybody come. listen, bro, not everybody's built for that.
Exactly. That's why I say you gotta have that certain it factor. You know what I mean? Just like at y'all position, like it's a certain particular thing that this kid possesses, and you're like, yeah, boy, this position is meant for you. You know what I'm saying? The other guy next to him, he may have the size, but like, yeah, bro, you could probably transition. But like I said, it always come back down to like the love of this game. And if you love it, bro, you'll be able to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? No, play any position. But before we close out, fellas, man.
I got one question before we close out, bro. I want to ask this on camera too. Coach Torrian, bro, offensive linemen, we always got the most guys on the field. How come that doesn't translate to more guys being great coaches? Like, what do you think the thing is missing in that? Because you're going to have 10 linemen, per team, but when it comes to, finding O-line coaches, it's such a position that's like hard to find.
Man, I mean, I really think it comes down to just understanding the game, the knowledge, the work. Are you going to put the work in to get 10 guys, 5 guys to be on the same page? I don't think guys, necessarily want to put that work in. And then I think also, too, I think a lot of times it's scar guys, man. I think, you've been doing it so long, depending on how far you go or depending on what transpired, sometimes you just want to kind of get away from the game. You don't even want to be around the game. And so I think that's one of the biggest factors. I think a lot of guys just, they want to do something else. They want to transition into something else. You think about the big guys, right? We 300 pounds, 320, and what do most guys do when they retire? They get down to 220, right? Because they just want to forget, not necessarily forget, but just kind of transition from that and find their own identity, right? And I said that, when I transitioned from playing, I had to find a whole nother identity. I didn't know, who I was, or, I've always been Torrian Wilson, the football player, AKA Big Block, my nickname, right? I've always been that player, right? So it was like, who am I now, after the game? And luckily, I just had players that were just fortunate enough to just, give me that push that I'm looking for as far as being the coach. And then I know for me, like, I love the coaching because I still feel like I have something to prove, on the coaching side and the training side, right? A lot of times you see the guys that are doing the coaching or, college coaching and NFL coaching, those guys may not always had that long career that they wanted, right? So they're doing it because they feel like they still have something to prove. They feel like I can still be along this game, right? I can still, do it at a high level just on the coaching side. So I think that was one of the things that continued to push me.
That makes sense, bro, because a lot of times I would see a version of myself in each lineman. I never said that to them personally. Like, even the ones that gave me a headache, I'm like, damn it, that was me when I was in my sophomore year in college and I was a little bit stubborn, a little bit hard-headed. I thought I knew everything, or that lineman. So it's just like seeing a version of myself and still figuring out how to work through that. So I definitely feel that understanding, like, just working through that whole process. And I just want to kind of just say for the linemen out there who played in the past, man, like man, explore coaching. It's the same in the sense of you won't get a whole lot of, well, you'll get credit when you start getting far in the deep playoff runs because you can't win a championship without being able to run the ball. It's really hard to do so. But it's the same in that sense where, you'll be the first to get blamed when things go wrong, but you want to put these kids in a position to do right. Just think, man, you're saving a life and changing a life if you can get out there and coach these kids at that position, because these are kids that are like, to me, I feel like it's bullying when they're getting yelled at but not being taught how to be successful. You're not in the trenches with them, teaching them how to be the best version of lineman, or, okay, when you're doing a down block, or you down blocking left, you got to step with your left foot first, pointed it. Like, you got to teach them the intricacies of the game, and we can definitely save a life, man. And put these kids in the best position to do so before they can go off to school, man. So I just want to encourage all former linemen who for some reason feel like they don't want to coach, man, just consider it, man, and start at the optimist level, bro, and just continue to work it through that way.
I want to add this real quick. For me, like I said at the beginning, I didn't think I would be doing this, but fortunate enough to have mentors and people that came along my journey that put me in this position. And now when I look at it, at what I'm doing, it's almost like a ministry, right? So Yes, we do our coaching, we do our training, we do all this stuff, we do all this. But a lot of my players will tell you, man, a lot of the things that we do outside of the training part, like yesterday, for instance, we literally sat after training for extra 30, 45 minutes just talking about life, just talking about, the transition, just talking about the different situations that some of these kids are going through, right? Because that's the part we forget. We train and we coach these players, but and we see these players with NILs and all this stuff. And a lot of these kids are really going through some stuff too now, right? So, I think that's the biggest thing for me is just not only am I a trainer, they call me Unc now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So it's like, exactly.
You like you said, I'm a big spiritual guy, bro. So you hit it right on the head. It's a ministry. This is my ministry. You know what I'm saying? This is how I get there because I'm a big believer in God. You know what I'm saying? So this is my way to kind of tell and do my due diligence, my evangelism, my discipleship. And like I said, it's just bigger than football, man. It's not always about, football. It's about, women. It's about marriage. It's about, finances, business. We talk about a lot of things. And I'm just, like I said, I want to answer your question. I think, some guys may just be afraid of the duty that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? To train 5 guys, make them play at one accord, and a lot of times the lineman or D lineman may be the first. They get attacked easily. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of guys don't want that bullseye on their back.
You know what? What's funny, bro? Like what got me through it felt like that felt personal to me. Mm-hmm. Like I remember how I felt whenever Coach Jones came to me and said that something had to be better. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't blame that on the guys. It's me. I got to figure that out. Yep. So it was like a great combination of a competitive ego that I still have that burns inside to me this day. I just put it to the back burner to do other things to grow. So it's just like I take it personal, but not towards him. But how can I get? It's a challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna answer this challenge. How can I get this group to be a better version? How can we fix this? Because it may be a problem week 1, and it may not be solved by week 2. We might get it right in week 5, but maybe in week 2, I'm gonna figure out, okay, that's the formula. I figured out the group, the unit that's gonna get it, how we can get better. So it's just like, speaking into the competitive ego, bro, and that's what helps me. It's like, it's that challenge of it.
That's what it is. It's a challenge that a lot of guys run from, you know what I mean? But, before we close out, man, I had an awesome time with you guys. Now, I just want, one thing we do here at the Legacy Levels podcast, it's just a message that you guys want to get out to the football world or just society, just one message that you want to say. Maybe you can get a chance to say it today, but this is your time to kind of share that with the audience. So we'll start from right to left, you know what I mean? So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. I tell my guys, it's 2 things that I preach to my guys, right? It's 2 philosophies. One is so what, now what, right? You got to have a so what, now what in life. You have to have a so what, now what in football, right? So what, you missed your block. Now what are you going to do about it? So what, something went wrong. Now what are you going to do about it? So that's one philosophy. And then the next philosophy is you don't want to be a quitter, right? So it's a phrase that, I use and I have it on my shirt. You quit, you lose, you fail, right? So if you quit, you're going to automatically lose. 100%. If you quit, you automatically going to lose. Now, if you lose, you're going to fail, right? So it's just a stepping, right? A stepping stone right there to failure right here, right? You quit, you lose, you're going to fail.
How am I supposed to top that, bro? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's funny though, I always laugh because as we get older, I always used to look at guys and be like, the old heads always got all the sayings. But as we become an old guy, I'm like, damn, that is us. We got a little saying, quote for everything. But for me, man, I would say, I don't necessarily have a quote, but kind of just what we just talked about now is really defining like who you are after the game and our purpose and why we do what we do. You see what I'm saying? Because like you said, like this is so much bigger than football for all of us. And like I've always said from day one, my goal was to be able to bring as many people back to God as possible. You see what I'm saying? Like that's always been my goal. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to have these platforms that we all have to be able to do so. So I take a lot of pride in that. You see what I'm saying? And really just being able to motivate and inspire people. And I just want to continue to use these platforms for that. But I mean, understand your why. You see what I'm saying? Understand why you're doing what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? Because if you hang your hat on that, you'll forever have that battery pack when you remember why. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna have days where it's tough and motivation, and you're not always motivated, but if you remember why, I think you always get what you want out of life. So I think that's a big one.
I had a wild moment yesterday, boy. That heat, boy. I'm out here. I had to pull myself together.
But I asked myself yesterday, right? I was like, do I really want to move back here? Like how hot it is? Like, it's crazy, though. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Man, for me, man, it just embrace the challenge as offensive lineman, bro. Embrace the challenge and enjoy the journey. We always talk about how short careers are in the game of football, how the average career is like 4 years. But if you look at a career or position where you could play for a long time, it's the offensive line position. Because once you kind of develop that skill set to understand the mindset that what it takes to do it, you could have a long career. Like we see guys that have been playing the game like, 10, 12 years because they're such a vet, they're savvy, they understand it. But you got to embrace the challenge, of just learning it and being patient until you get it right. And when you find that right coach that's willing to pour into you and just sticking with it, and that just helps you in life too, man. So embrace the challenge because it's not going to be easy. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to miss your block sometimes. You're going to jump off sides. It's just a part of the game, but enjoy the journey along the way, bro. It's long. There is no instant gratification, bro. It's the polar opposite of, playing besides a dominant receiver where they could have 2 catches for 2 touchdowns for 160 yards and that just be their day. For us, it's a steady journey, bro. It's, first play, next play, next play. It gets redundant, bro, but you got to find that joy. And when you figure it out and when it clicks, it's a beautiful thing, man. But you got to embrace it and enjoy it. And that's my journey for the linemen out there.
Yes, sir. And my message, man, after talking to the guys, especially when Torrian talked about, you wanted to go Power 5, but you ended up going D2. You always going to have those let's see what you got moments. I'm big on that. Let's see what you got, Just like he said, you balled out that season. You didn't get the college you want to. You got to go D2. Let's see what you got. It's even bigger than that. Let's say you had a big-time Power 5. You get hurt or you lose your position. Let's see what you got, Maybe it's off the field issues that's bothering you, but you're still trying to play through all that and still trying to accomplish your goals at the end of the football season. Let's see what you got. Maybe your coach told you, hey, bro, we don't need you no more. You go back to, you jump in the portal, and now you got to level down. Let's see what you got. Nobody's bigger than this let's see what you got moment. Y'all athletes going to get a couple of those, probably more than a couple, throughout your career in college. And hell, when you step into the real world, when them cleats and helmets come off, we really going to see, let's see what you got. You know what I mean? So nobody's bigger than let's see what you got. Like now it's time to show up and show out. If you really say you love this game, let's see what you got. You know what I mean? You want to be successful in life? Let's see what you got. So that's what kind of resonated with me after Torrian brought that up, man. Let's see what you got. But I want to thank y'all gentlemen, man. It's always been a pleasure, man. Y'all know y'all my dudes, bro. So this is always Trench Talk. We got my guy Torrian, got my guy Javon Gopie, Sack Sensei, Crafting Lineman, my guy Travis Harmon, Mental Peace Performance. Thank you for coming out. We'll see y'all later. Peace.